Hey, let's delve into the inheritance topic. At my sister's words, we were taken aback. I'm curious about my share of Grandpa's inheritance, assuming it's around $1 million. She used to be adorable when she was younger. When did she become so obsessed with money? By the way, I'm Lindsay, 35, happily single and dedicated to my work as a caregiver. Marriage isn't on my radar, and I'm enjoying my single life. Being a caregiver is tough, you know. Building relationships with clients can be challenging, and it's physically and mentally exhausting at times. But hearing gratitude from clients like Lindsay, thank you always help me, keeps me energized. It's a rewarding profession. Lindsay, is it time to finish up? My colleague asked as I was washing used towels. I'll take over. I feel guilty every time, but sure, take care. By 5 o'clock p.m., my colleague was taking the night shift. I have circumstances preventing me from working nights, but my workplace understands. I'm truly grateful. After expressing my thanks, I hurried home, a 20-minute drive away. Grandma? I'm back, I greeted. Have you eaten? About two, Grandma replied. Then let's eat together with Grandpa. The three of us. How about that? I live with my grandparents to care for Grandpa. It might be unusual, but I moved here willingly. After losing our mother, our family became a father-only household. My sister was often rebellious toward our grandparents, but I appreciated their kindness. Despite working, my sister still asked for money whenever she ran out. Moreover, when my sister got married 5 years ago, she had the audacity to demand a $10,000 congratulatory gift. My father and I scolded her sternly, questioning her greed. What do you think Grandpa and Grandma are for, huh? It's my wedding, and it wouldn't hurt them to be more generous, she argued selfishly. Unbelievably unreasonable. My father reprimanded her. Can't you stop being so selfish? You're way too spoiled. Despite the scolding, the grandparents ended up giving the $10,000 as a congratulatory gift. I tried to intervene, saying it wasn't necessary, but they insisted, considering it a celebration. If only my sister and her husband had shown some gratitude. Instead, they acted as if receiving the money was their due right. That's why I never really liked my sister and her husband. Dealing with them only led to irritation. So after my sister got married, I maintained a healthy distance from them. 2 years ago, Grandpa suffered a stroke and became bedridden. After discussions with my father and relatives, we considered placing him in a facility. However, Grandma insisted on not being separated from him. I will take care of Grandpa until the end, she declared. Witnessing the closeness of my grandparents, even from a grandchild's perspective, it was painfully clear that separating them would be too harsh. However, Grandma was already over 80, and taking care of Grandpa alone would be challenging. That's when I made up my mind. I decided to live with my grandparents. I owe so much to them for raising me, and more than anything, for their unwavering love and commitment. I wanted to repay them as a professional caregiver and as their grandchild, providing support for my grandparents. I requested a transfer at my workplace and moved into their house. I am currently taking turns with Grandma in taking care of Grandpa. The reason for refusing night shifts at my current job is because of this, and I'm truly grateful to my workplace for accommodating my needs. Grandpa seems to be in a good mood today. Grandma said to me while wiping his body. Really, it feels like he's smiling. Despite being bedridden and unable to converse, Grandma and I felt like we could somehow understand how he was feeling. It's tough every day, but I can keep going for my beloved grandparents. I love them that much. One day, while Grandma went out with her friends, I was taking care of Grandpa's meal. Grandpa, is it good? Grandpa didn't say anything, but I felt his gentle eyes were expressing gratitude. Just then, the entrance door was opened roughly. Oh, you're here, sis. What are you doing here? My sister barged into the house. Even though she's family, I couldn't help but feel a bit displeased. Nothing much, just came to see how Grandpa is doing, she said. I thought she didn't really care about Grandpa, but I didn't voice it. So, how is Grandpa doing? Well, nothing much has changed, I guess. I replied. Her interest seemed minimal, and I couldn't shake the feeling that she had some ill intentions. By the way, where's Grandma? She's out at the moment? Do you need something? Not really, nothing important. What could it be? This house is still as old as ever. My sister looked around as if appraising it. I felt she had some ill intentions, which made me more cautious. Hey, have you heard anything from Grandma? Heard what? About the inheritance. I was utterly dismayed. Grandpa is still alive. Why would she bring up such a topic? It's extremely disrespectful. Why are you even concerned about that? Well, if we wait until after he's gone, things will be rushed, right? It's better to talk about these things early. Can you stop? Is that why you showed up, just to talk about this? What's wrong with that? We have to discuss it sometime. Why are you even sticking your nose into the inheritance talk? My sister and I ended up arguing right there. I knew what she was after. She just wanted money. It was really shameful to see such greediness in my own sister. While we were arguing, Grandma returned home. Grandma, long time no see. My sister cozied up to Grandma in a good mood. Grandma gave me a reassuring smile. By the way, Grandma, I have a favor to ask. Could you give me some pocket money? I'm a bit tight this month. Grandma looked troubled, so I stepped in. Hey, what's a grown adult doing asking for money? Keep out of this. I'm asking Grandma, can't you see you're bothering her? Not at all. I'm her granddaughter, after all, my sister retorted, looking up at Grandma with a smile, hoping for money. It was just too crude. I just paid the neighborhood association fees, so I don't have any cash on me. Sorry, Grandma skillfully dodged my sister's request. Oh, is that so? Then never mind, I'll be going. My sister backed off easily and left. I sighed in relief and looked at Grandma. I'm sorry, Grandma. It's not something you should apologize for, Lindsay. I bought some sweets. Let's eat them together. Grandma smiled kindly. My sister is really troublesome. What's with the tight this month? Both of them work and don't have any children yet. Why do they always need to borrow money? The reason became clear soon enough. My sister and her husband had bought a house. Neither my father nor I knew, but it turns out my sister was building a large 4-room house. It had already started construction and was to be completed in 6 months, located in a prime urban area. It made us wonder if it was really okay to build such a large house in such a place. Since my father hadn't provided any financial assistance, maybe my sister's husband's family had helped them out. But I suppose I shouldn't worry about such things. If they've already bought it, they must have passed the mortgage screening and surely have a proper repayment plan in place. At least, that's what I thought. Then, just as my sister's house was nearing completion, Grandpa passed away. He developed pneumonia, and it was all over very quickly. I was so sad to part with my beloved Grandpa that I cried all through the wake. Grandma was the one who comforted me. Grandpa was happy, you know. You took such good care of him, so let's not cry. Let's send him off with a smile. Those words felt like true salvation to me. Grandma's calm face was memorable. After the funeral, when our family gathered at Grandma's house for the first time in a while, my father, Grandma, and I were immersed in memories of Grandpa, sharing stories about him. While the 3 of us were enjoying our conversation, my sister seemed restless beside us, whispering with her husband and looking uneasy. Then, as if she had made up her mind, my sister spoke up, "Hey, what about Grandpa's inheritance?" Everyone present froze at her words. It hadn't even been 7 days since his passing, and she was bringing this up. My father hurriedly tried to stop her. "What are you saying?" "But we need to talk about this stuff early," my sister insisted, echoing the same sentiments she had when Grandpa was alive. "Does she think of nothing but money? Let's just talk about it, okay? Shall we?" She seemed eager to move the conversation forward. Based on the size of this property and its land value, it must be around $1 million, right? When had she researched all this while my father and I were stunned? Only Grandma calmly sipped her coffee. "There's the house payment. When is the deposit?" Stop! Stop it, will you? Despite my attempt to stop her, my sister didn't quit talking. We took out the mortgage, counting on the inheritance. We have to make sure we get what's coming to us. Her husband nodded along beside her. This couple truly knew nothing. I confronted my sister and her husband with the fact grandchildren don't have inheritance rights. Huh. My sister let out a foolishly surprised noise. What are you misunderstanding? My father questioned her with a puzzled look. Confused, my sister turned to Grandma. What do you mean? Why then? My father interjected. Well, inheritance typically goes to the spouse and children. Grandchildren aren't direct heirs. I didn't know that. Why bring this up now? My sister couldn't believe it. Is there a will? Didn't Grandpa leave a will? There's no will. Dad said, we'll distribute the inheritance according to the law. What about the house payments, then? My sister and her husband looked utterly defeated. What payments are you talking about? When I asked, my sister blurted out, we set a higher down payment because we thought we'd get Grandpa's inheritance. And the payment is due next month. She started wailing loudly. Turns out they had stretched themselves thin with a hefty mortgage for the house. I had assumed her husband's parents had helped them, but they had borrowed to the hilt on their own to lighten the monthly mortgage burden. They were supposed to prepare a $100,000 down payment, but their plans had gone awry. So, I won't get any money at all, not even a little? She asked my father and Grandma again. But the law is the law, no matter how much she fussed. No, there's nothing, Grandma replied. Furious as if on fire, my sister started. That's not fair. You've been spending Grandpa's money all along, haven't you? That's so sneaky. She directed her anger at me. Stop saying weird things. I haven't done anything like that. Lies. You were just after Grandpa's inheritance under the guise of caregiving. To think my sister harbored such thoughts, I was at a loss for words. I thought it was strange offering to take care of Grandpa instead of our parents. There's no other reason but money hunting, that's it. You should pay for our house's down payment, Lindsay. You've been milking Grandpa for money, haven't you? She threw those words at me with a triumphant look. I was so frustrated and sad that I just bit my lip and couldn't say anything. Then Grandma, who had been quietly sipping her coffee until now, spoke up. How dare you say such things to Lindsay? Everyone was shocked by Grandma's tone, who was always gentle and calm. In the first place, it's absurd to rely on something like that to build a house, isn't it? But, Grandma, we're really in trouble. Sort it out yourselves. Grandma's sharp rebuke silenced my sister. You should really reconsider how you're living your life. If you keep this up, you're going to ruin yourself. My sister trembled at our father's words, perhaps feeling uncomfortable with Grandma and Dad's stern demeanor. My sister and her husband left as if fleeing. Later on, my sister and her husband couldn't prepare the down payment in time and tried to reapply for a full mortgage, but they ultimately failed to pass the review. They had to give up the new house without ever setting foot in it. My sister resisted tearfully, but there was no other choice. In the end, they were left with a debt of $200,000. I should never have bought that house, she lamented, but it was too late. They now spend their days working day and night to repay the debt. It's surprising they didn't understand how inheritance works. After losing the house, my sister repeatedly came to my father to ask for money. However, my father, unwilling to lend money so easily, firmly refused. Then she came to me. Lindsay, please think of me as your cute little sister and help me out, okay? As if she was a cute sister. Of course, I couldn't bring myself to want to help and replied, sorry, but I can't afford to. Even though I had enough savings, I felt no obligation to lend her anything as there was no guarantee it would be returned. Why not? I'm in trouble. You could at least help me, my sister said weakly, but I remained firm. You should learn from this and not depend on others anymore. I gave her that piece of advice, though I doubted it would resonate much. By the way, Grandma, what is it? After the month following the funeral, I asked Grandma about something that had been on my mind. Why did you say that to my sister back then? I was curious about the real intention behind Grandma's harsh words. I had never seen her get angry or shout before, so I was surprised at her demeanor that day. Because she was saying such terrible things to Lindsay, who had been so kind to Grandpa, I couldn't stand it. Even if she is my beloved granddaughter, I couldn't forgive her for saying such things to my precious granddaughter. Knowing that Grandma cared so much for me made me so happy that tears welled up in my eyes. Lindsay, thank you so much. No, Grandma, I'm the one who should be thanking you. Nonstop. When I'm gone, I might leave this house and land to you, Lindsay. Don't say such unlucky things. Please stop. I'm happy to have such a lovely granddaughter. I'm content enough to welcome my time to go any time. But I wish for Grandma to live as long as possible. Filled with such thoughts, I'm determined to do even more for Grandma from now on. Grandma, please continue to watch over me.